elimination.
That's right. Going straight to knockouts would be a huge boon. We're so lucky that we get to see Zeus play twice the same. Like you get both sides of the same matchup essentially here. That we saw him play Gwen into the Rumble. Now we get to see the Rumble attempt, and that's fun to see because he's confident on both sides of the matchup. And they pick the Gwen first, and it's the same summoner setup that we saw from Zeus earlier with the exhaust. So really a test of Mirwan's mettle here in the second game for him at EWC 2025. Prio, though, I feel should go realistically in all three lanes, significantly in Hanwha Life Esports' favor.
Yeah, and the jungle as well is, I think, going to be a little bit more of a difficult time, although I guess it's somewhat even. It's two battle junglers here for the early game, but right now it's all about who has that prio, because the jungle is not able to quite work as well unless their lanes are able to come and help them. We'll see who's going to be able to get that leg up in this matchup. Zeka versus Jojo. This is going to be an interesting one. Trying to wind up the clockwork, as we can see here. But so far, some even trades. Now, Delight just crashing down immediately. Finds the very late knockup onto Alvaro there, but does have a little bit of a heal from that Gleaming Quill.
I feel like this type of trade really favors Hanwha Life Esports. Viper decides to use the Q to help clear these minions so they can get level 2 first. And even though Alvaro does have a little bit of a heal there, does get caught by the edge of that crash down. And this is really looking good for the side of Hanwha Life. See, that ends up being a pretty even trade of the minions across the board here, in fact, with all the damage they're putting in.
Spamming Q as well out of this Rakan really is a lot of healing these days. I remember when that Q button was basically useless and you should never press it.
Yeah,
until it stole a Baron that one time. But now you just keep hitting it. This is something that Orcs really loves to talk about all the time, but you keep hitting it and you're going to have a fair bit of sustain in the lane.
It's not my favorite ability, but
the Raptor.
It is certainly, it adds up.
Yeah.
It's not the most satisfying one at times, but
no, it's not for the damage, definitely, but for the little green circle, that feels good. Jojo taking a bit of damage here, but able to offer a fair bit back as well, as we can see. A little bit of a cheeky room prison, as there's the level up. Level 3 pretty good here for Zeka, who does eat the last remainder of Jojo's mana. Yeah. Jojo able to get some decent push here in this lane, has that last Q to finish that one up, and a very fast cheetah recall, try and get that tier as early as possible.
Like, it's just going to be a pretty even reset here in the mid lane. Merwin comes over here, gets some vision of where Peanut is. Will cost him, though, a little bit of control as he's kind of caught awkwardly in the river at the moment.
Yeah.
And then TP will come in. Nothing crazy going to amount from that topside exchange, but you can see here it's really uncomfortable to get back to lane.
Oh my goodness. Actually has to use the exhaust here as the Grand Entrance does catch Viper. A little bit of damage off it back, but no Blight going to be popped there. So Alvaro going to be all right.
I think it goes without saying, but for those who didn't know or didn't notice yet, it is obviously going to be Lethality Varus in this game.
Yeah, it does the comment thingy coming from the sky.
Yeah, and he is very well known for his Lethality Varus. But really good trades and good laning here by Supa and Alvaro has really, subverted my expectations here. As we see the TP has already come through. Peanut wants to punish.
No, just teleported in. They do manage to get that stun down. Let's see whether Peanut's going to survive here. Is one last turret shot, and he's just dead. That's first blood. And that was, can I do it? How do I do a real life question mark? It's like in my brain.
It's the second time we've seen something like this. This time it was Peanut committing with Zeus to the play. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on this one, Atlas. Like, I get the idea of, like, okay, he just TP'd back in, let's get an advantage. Now Zeus might find himself in trouble as well. He has this ward, luckily, but he should be able to get out of here, but he's still not going to be comfortable with the current lane state. But, man, you could go for that type of play, but you need to drop the turret aggro faster and just try to push. I don't think you can go for the play, actually. I'm really trying to salvage this for them, but no, it's just... It was
a full health Gwen under turret. And yes, if they manage to kill her, it's a massive advantage, right? Because he just used teleport. You're going to be able to, like, take the whole wave.
If you get him, like, 80% of his health, he doesn't die. But then, like, he can't stay and he has to back, and it's horrible. But it just did not eventuate that way. And
And Peanut like had flash as well and just like didn't flash
use it. Yeah.
I think he thought that maybe he was okay. Like the calculation was just a bit off. I'm not entirely sure, but I was, you know, we were watching that and it was like he was hit by a what are those things that go really slow? Steamroller.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like in Austin Powers, where he's just standing there with his arms up and he's like, no, for like 10 years. That's what it kind of felt like to me.
It did feel kind of like that.
Well,
Jojo's making a flash
forward. Jojo actually taking a lot of damage as well, but Zeka will be taken down, and that is 2 on the board now for MCOY. These early games from HLE have been not so great.
I mean, they had the lead in prio in both mid and top. Bottom lane obviously got turned around because Supa and Alvaro played the lane really well. But now it's just kind of a disaster here as Hanwha Life keep dropping the ball in their solo lanes. And I mean, now they have only a slight farm lead for Peanut. That's all they have in this game. And it's unforced, a lot of these errors. So just quite bizarre here. But it's not something that we've never seen from Hanwha Life, right? I mean, we have certainly seen so many of these games where Hanwha Life does not respect their opponents, plays weird in the early game, and then catches up later on. But I feel like if we're looking at this team as a potential contester for picking up the 2025 title here, we're going to have to see some of the early game cleaned up, I have to say, Atlas.
Yeah, I think there's certainly some housekeeping to be done, and it can be done in this game. Like you were saying, it's only 600 gold. It's not really anything to write home about. It's just not a great sign for the beginnings of this one. And with the money on both Merwin and Jojo Pion, like this is exactly where MCOY want their funds deposited. As Elyoya now just roaming around the enemy jungle.
Look at Elyoya's vision. Like, he knows exactly where Peanut is, so they can try to potentially set up a dive here.
Speaking of which, Zeus does have that scrap shield, gets a bit of his health bar back, but still 400 is not a massive amount to work with underneath this turret.
He's got his equalizer, so he should be fine, as here comes the Pantheon ult.
Yeah, Grand Starfall, there's the flash forward. Great position, but that's an even better shockwave. Still, it's a 1-for-1, and that is going to be Feats of Warfare also locked in for MCOY. Delight moving on forward as Elyoya taking a fair bit of damage from the attack dissonance combo. Zeka getting on the board is good, but I don't think it's good enough here for HLE to feel better about the situation.
They just wanted more out of that than what they got. It's crucial that Zeka got the kill. I think that's more valuable than Elyoya picking up the counter kill there on the other side, but a bit sloppy, a bit forced here. And it seems like the biggest enemy today of Hanwha Life Esports has been turrets.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say themselves, and I would have agreed with that one as well.
You know, I am saying that, I'm just saying it in a nicer way. As we will see the TP to come through here for Zeka back in the mid lane. We have Grubs spawning here shortly as they do come up right now. Swap of Supa back towards the top side of the map. Merwin will have teleport soon. I think we're going to have a bit of a skirmish over this one. Zeka still doesn't have his ult and doesn't have Prio here in the mid lane. So MCOY actually feeling pretty good about just starting this up right now. Delight, very aggressive. I mean, not sure about this one.
Yeah, he does have that shield, but that's going to wear off, and that's a Rune Prison onto Zeka. Dodges the Q. That's going to feel a little bit better as MCOY, they're still just getting to work here on these Grubs. Already goes down.
If we stack up all the things Hanwha just did, I mean, Viper was backing, right? Elyoya's on Grubs, they notice. They don't have mid-prio, they don't have Orianna ult, and they still try to contest. Now, they will get the Dragon here, but that was really risky there on the top side for no reward. It could have been worse, but at least we do trade objectives as Viper
no
may just be
There's
dead.
no way to protect him. Delight is coming over as fast as possible. Chains of Corruption to buy some space, and Delight throws his body into it. Hail of Arrow is actually doing a fair bit of work alongside that piercing arrow, and now Alvaro having to get out of there. There is the command attack, and flash away from Elyoya is not going to be enough. And Viper is just going to put him down with that arrow from point-blank range. Now Supa could be in trouble as well, and HLE, they found a window and they dove through it.
Yeah, they certainly did. That was a really nice ult there from Viper. Delight is able to buy time there for the rotation over of Zeko. Doesn't even need to use his shockwave. Still has it. Will self-cast it. And,
bit of a hula hoop there. Sometimes you just want to do some aerobic fitness, Wolf.
So he no longer has it, to correct myself. Thanks, Zeko, for that one. We wanted to threaten Supa there and push him out.
Was it a visual bug?
Yeah. So this chains of corruption into Delight actually getting the crash down over the wall, plus the double Q here connecting. This does so much damage. Now Alvaro, low on mana, is stuck here, ends up getting caught by this Q, and then cannot get over the wall. And Elyoya just decides, okay, I might as well go back in because I'm also dead here to try to buy space for Supa to get out.
Yep. Wanted to also see whether he could kill Viper, at least put him to the test.
Yeah.
And Viper passes, but, you know, you miss every shot you don't take. As Moen now into the mist. Zeus having a pretty good time. Level 9 is, of course, a big power point for the Rumble, getting all the points into your queue. As now Viper is going to have to try and kill Jojo Pin before he's dead, and he's not going to be able to make that one work. There's a Realm Warp. That's an interesting maneuver. Viper is very dead, guys. We're just making sure that Jojo gets killed, and he certainly does. And in the meantime, Elyoya is also dead. Moen also going to suffer the same fate by the looks of things as Delight. That's how you tank up a turret. As I thought that maybe the turret was still interested in him. It wasn't. And that is just going to be HLE getting a trade up.
It is a trade up. This is a bizarre game.
If HLE tidies up the first 7 minutes of the game, they're looking real good.
Yeah, no, it's certainly true. But it was still a good play on the Viper there on the top side. If you look at where the gold is, though, across the board now, like Zeus' start was pretty rough, but now he's quite large. He has a 20 CS lead against his opposition. This Rumble is big. And, I mean, plays like this, you got to respect the global of the Pantheon when you've just shown your Rise topside. They know there's no counterplay. They know they can dive you here. And yes, you know, there's a turret here, and Merwin plays this well, but they're just going to get Delight barely out of the aggro range there, as you were talking about. As Jojo
does have to walk down the red carpet, but he just gives the thumbs up because he can just walk off to the side. There's a great knock-up onto Viper as well, who's once again suffering. Alvaro will take another shot and is almost taken down. Does survive with about 100 as Delight's moving in. Peanut as well. And Supa, I don't think is getting out of this one. There is still some CC available, I'm pretty sure. Shattering Strike, that's a great Cat and Jack, but that means that Peanut is there for the flash Q. Takes down the Ezreal. Another one on the board here for HLE as they move that gold lead to about 1.2k.
This game has all just been about drive-bys. Like, did you get the kill? Are we going to really hard force? Oh, didn't quite get it. Oh, you got punished. And in this case, it required a flash there from Peanut, but got Supa's flash and cleanse. So now it's a summonerless Ezreal, so you feel pretty good about that trade for sure.
I want to go back to what Finn was saying as well on the desk, because I think he hit the nail on the head. And that was both of these teams just want to fight at all times, no matter what. It's not about like which objective is available. It's not about like what can we get? Is there tempo here or there? It's about is there a champion and can we kill it? And the answer may just be yes. As the phase rush comes in, and I am in fact made a liar.
If you
Zeus gets out of there.
If you draw a line across the rift where the river is, just from diagonally. Yeah, and call it like the rift's equator, so to speak. If anyone's past the equator on your side of the map, these teams are trying to go for it, right? Like Viper was like on the edge of the equator, like, got him! But actually did not, in fact, quite get him. And so now Peanut's going to come over here. Supa does have both summoners, right? But I think he just forgets that Delight is nearby here and does end up playing this really well. Like, is able to E, flash, Captain Jack, but Peanut flashes for the Q follow. If Peanut actually doesn't react super quickly there, Supa probably gets out. I think Supa played that really well, but it was the circumstances more than his play that was the problem.
Yeah, I would agree. And I'm glad that Supa's not like looking upset on the player cam there, because that was a dope cleanse. Like,
yeah, it was clean.
Cool cleanse. We like those. As Viper parking himself in the mid lane once again. You can see about 300 gold in the lead is the Varus, but he's down in farm. Supa has done a really good job catching waves so far this game. As MCOY looking to try and punish Zeka here. And Zeus is going to punish this turret.
Zeus has just spent so much time alone in this bottom lane when everyone's fighting in mid, or he's shadowed by Peanut. When Peanut's ultimate is up, he just
is gone.
Yeah, he's just getting this whole turret for free, basically. Got so many plates down there, as you guys could see. Was able to pick up 3 in total, and Peanut's just going to get this dragon, and the cross map just doesn't exist. Like, it's a push from Jojo onto this top turret, and he is putting a significant amount of damage onto it, but, I just feel like this isn't worth an exchange. This Rumble is getting so huge, whereas it's just like a third of the turret that Jojo picks up on the cross map. And the fact that there's a global jungler on Hanwha Life side, and the split pusher has the global ability on the side of MCOY really does hurt you in these types of game states, and Hanwha Life are playing the map really well.
Feels like a bit of a turnaround from what we were seeing in the early game as the Shockwave comes out once again. Delight is here as the Realm Warp is going to be able to get Jojo out of there, but Peanut was waiting. There's the quickness as he gets charmed up, knocked up as well, and the turret is there. Peanut just made to look foolish underneath the top outer turret here of MCOY.
I feel like I just keep watching the same play over and over and over again.
Yeah, that turret was the worst enemy call that you had before. That is bearing fruit, my friend.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a good play there from JoJo. Just barely gets out. If he gets interrupted by Delight there, it's a completely different story. Gets the Realm Warp off, and the rest is history. Zeka may be dead.
Yeah, there is some needlework coming down here. Zeka going to have to try and get out of the way of that one. Does flash. As now Muin, he's got the exhaust. The turret is just not going to help enough here as he just dabs on Zeka. Really beautifully played. Muin, he was a little bit of a question mark in their last game, but not this time around. 2-1-0 now on the Gwen, and he's going to be a big problem later on.
Harold is going to go over to the side of MCOY as well here without a contest from Hanwha Life. They're going for a late one to try to punish.
Don't know about this one, but Viper is moving over. Zayas is in position as well. Equalizer goes down. The red carpet's perfectly positioned as Elyoya going to have to flash away as a result of that one. Arcane Shift gets super to safety as well. And Elyoya should be able to get towards this inner turret, and that is going to get him out of there. HLE unable to find any purchase here in that little skirmish.
Yeah.
That is just a pickup once again of the objective.
It's unfortunate for Hanwha Life that's Xinjiao, who does have Crescent Guard and is, despite a really good equalizer placement, they're going to be able to essentially walk it off. To go back to this play here on the bottom side. As everyone's scuffling top side here, Zeka just TPs into this one, eats a ton of damage. And, I mean, the needlework connects. And he has the exhaust, as you mentioned, for the follow-up. But meanwhile, Viper exhausted.
I've seen this one before as well. Chains of Corruption is going to come down. He needs to dodge the next Q, but Super was rooted up, and so isn't able to actually get that one in position.
They've learned when Viper hits the Chains of Corruption defensively, you just stop chasing.
Yeah. As JoJo doing a lot of work here as well. Alvaro moving himself up. Phase Rush going to get procced here as Zayas will get himself out with just a sliver of health. That will mean even more priority goes over towards MCOY here, towards the top side of the map. And 300 gold is all that separates these two teams. One objective to get those feats of strength as well. And next one should be this Chemtech Dragon.
My concern is that the lead for Zayas has just completely fallen off, right? Like, the fact that Marona is able to get that kill bottom side is second of the game. They're going to get this top turret pretty shortly here as well. You have to think, maybe not on this wave, but it is some standing gold he can pick up. And the Gwen, supported by that Rise Realm Warp in the side lane, is going to be such a bigger threat than this Rumble. But I feel like map control can become MCOY so quickly. So I was talking about earlier when I said nameplates off, I like their draft more in an even game state. We hit 17.5 minutes in. It is that even game state. And let's see what they could do with it, because I feel like this is a lot of potential in this draft. Ezreal getting closer to that 2-item spike for Supa. And while Viper has had some great moments defensively here, we haven't really seen that poke land yet in a 5v5. We haven't seen a traditional 5v5 just yet. Yeah. But I think that when we go into those 5v5s, I favor MCOY's setup if they play the map well.
I also think that even though Viper has had those defensive plays and they have worked, the one on the top side of the map was certainly good. But elsewise, here in the mid lane especially, he has just sort of had to burn summoner spells and they haven't been able to get anything on a cross map, right? It has just been a little bit of bullying Viper to try and hold him down. And his Ezreal, his Varus, even with the lethality build in the late game, is absolutely terrifying. So it's understandable that they are going to put their focus there. They do have now the push control in this mid lane. They're looking forward to this Chemtech Dragon that's going to be up in 40 seconds.
It's a 2-item Gwen here before Zayas has hit his 2-item spike, and going to get control over this bottom wave here. Elyoya does get spotted here on the top side of the map, so that's going to give Hanwha a little moment of reprieve. See what they do opt to do for Zeka, who's backing and has TP. Timing here pretty good for Hanwha. They have 20 seconds to actually regroup and actually look for that 5v5. This may be the first real traditional 5v5 of the game that we get.
Oh dear. There is a ghost used by Viper. Throws out the Chains of Corruption. A little bit of a yellow Pete back in 2012 little maneuver there. As it throws to Narnia.
Looks like, you know, the game plan to kill Viper just has not been a great success so far in this game.
They did get his ult though. That is absolutely something that they achieved, as now the fight is on. The flash forward from Delight as well, who finds the engage. Shockwave only onto one, but that one is very dead. And the re-engage not going to be an option. The Grand Starfall comes through as Peanut. Maybe a little bit of an overextension is never mind. Merwin getting in amongst the thick of things. But the flash out from Zeus is too good, and they're unable to take down Delight. The snap of the fingers here from HLE, and they find their target. Peanut throwing some buttons around, not going to be able to get Super there, but the writing's on the wall here for this Dragon fight, and HLE, they're going to get Soul Point.
Delight just remembering Jungle Rel for a second here as he starts the Dragon up,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that
flashed over the top of something as well as he went in. It's basically Owner from World.
Oh, yeah, it's you know, we all know. Once again, Delight turning the game around, just like he did in the series against CFO earlier with some of these incredible engages. The Flash Magnet Storm was a game changer in this last fight, and he just finds his angle. And we'll watch it here again because initially it looks like, okay, there's a bit of an overextension here, but as MCOY looks to try to turn, Delight just says no, and Elyoya is unable to Crescent Guard until too late, and he's dead. And then Supa is just pushed out of the fight as well. You can see there's no recourse here anymore. It's just way too split up. Hanwha Life Esports getting the jump there with Delight. Has a perfect KDA, nearly 100% KPs. MCOY going to look for the Otacon?
Over the day as well. I think Delight's died once, and he's got most of the assists as well. So like most of the kills that have happened here for HLE. Another equalizer, great position once again for Zeus, but it's not a full commit. Chains of Corruption comes through, they get some roots, and Alvaro finds some charms as well. True Shot Barrage doing decent damage. That is Peanut finding the steal. It's Elyoya, he's angry, but he just gets Magnet Stormed and destroyed. They'll sacrifice their Varus, but it looks like HLE still happy with the fight. They get the objective, and they're looking to get even more. The three-man knockup from Alvaro is decent, and he keeps himself alive for a while. But Merwin still going to go down. Super going to suffer the same fate, and Alvaro is running the wrong direction. Allow me to drive my way out of here. He asks Shelly, and he's going to need to really do some drifting, and it's not going to work as the ace comes through. And unfortunately, he's just not enough Vin Diesel to get out of that one.
Well, we came out of a replay, so I'm not entirely sure the exact full setup there that MCOY had for the Otacon, where they thought they had an angle there. They obviously were faster grouped, right? You could see it when we jump into this replay. But Hanwha Life Esports are just they're just one step away, right? And this is not enough damage to burst an Otacon down this early into the game. The equalizer is pretty high value here. And then you can see at this point, Supa's pushed off to the side. He can't really offer any poke. And then Zeus just kind of walks in. And then obviously Peanut can just put his shield up here, look for the 50-50, gets the steal. And Merwin is chasing Viper, who flashes away. Yes, Viper is out of the fight and dies, but everything else is just so split up. Supa does very little damage to this fight because he's been completely zoned the whole time. And then Merwin's almost, with his triple knockup, able to make something happen, but almost isn't good enough. Same with Supa. If Supa's there when that happens with Merwin, maybe they could have turned that around, but instead Alvaro's heroic play just doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, the charm was actually really good as Merwin's having a bit of a giggle, having a good time regardless of the result. Of course, no one's keys are in danger after this game, but they get closer and closer if you do lose. So they do have to be a little bit careful, but I guess you can relax somewhat. Just glad that spirits are up, as we can see. HLE now moving towards this inner turret, towards the top side of the map, and it really feels like they have garnered a whole lot of control as they move to just over a 3,000 gold lead. Alvaro goes in, and Peanut will take a fair bit here as Super does have that 2-item spike completed and a cheeky longsword on top of it. So the Ezreal is still somewhat scary, but the red gold leads, Wolf, have gone away.
They certainly have. You know, we saw a bit of an extra split push there for JoJo in the bottom lane moments before, but, you know, this is now answered by Zeus here. They defended pretty well. You know, there's no Baron or anything like that, but it's not HLE starting to break open the map completely. They have some deep vision that had to be cleared there on the top side, but it's a good job there clearing that away by MCOY as well. And I think there's one fight left for MCOY in this one. You know, one real try.
Oh dear.
After that, I think it might just be lights out, though, if they end up botching it. As HLE are being relentless with their pressure. They're going back to clear that vision I was just talking about there on the top side and setting up for Baron. Clear these mid waves, get all that vision around Baron, and look to start it on spawn here in just 1 minute's time. And JoJo once again...
Baron and Dragon are spawning at the same time as well. And like you were about to say, JoJo is there towards the bottom side trying to put some pressure back.
He has to do stuff like this so that he can pull Hanwha Life's 4-man away.
Oh no, the Mega Cone of death, as JoJo does get the flash off and gets the equalizer and just realm warps his way out. Never mind, he was never in danger. He was fine.
And unfortunately, I just don't know if they're going to be able to get anything out of his survival here.
I mean, he didn't have to use a lot.
He had to use a lot, and there's not like an Orianna that's too pushed up in the top lane or anything that they can punish. Zeka's just chilling, and so he pulled Hanwha down, put the pressure away from their side of the map there, the red side of the map where they were taking that vision away. But it ultimately means very little. It means they get a little bit of vision around the Baron pit. And, JoJo survives. That's a small win. He's actually so far away from his Rod of Ages completing. It's going to be a lot of experience he picks up when it does. But, yeah, I don't know if there's a real fight here for MCOY. They have the better prio right now. Hanwha are not going to trade for Baron. They want this soul.
Well, they're going to see what MCOY are up to here in the river. Zeus also moving around for a flank angle as JoJo gets some vision down. Zeus not wanting to face check, but still in position to get an ulti off and does have the flash to try and get over that wall. Peanut looking for a bit of an angle, just going to break that blast cone to not allow any of that funny business. True Shot Barrage not going to quite connect. As Zeus, you can see, has joined the rest of his team. They're just pushing this Gwen away from the fight, though, and HLE wanting to try and single out the MCOY members.
They're playing for the 50-50.
Yep, they go in. That is going to be the soul denied, but the equalizer goes down. Elyoya in a lot of trouble, but Alvaro goes in once again, finds a great angle with the quickness. It just doesn't feel like it's enough. The flash forward, the shockwave's there, and Peanut, even though he's on basically no health, he just wants to press his R button. He will do so. Two are on the floor here for MCOY, but they do deny the soul.
If it was a more even game state, some of these plays from Alvaro could be actually game-changing, right?
Yeah, you might be right, man. This guy's real good.
But, I mean, the setups are so good. His CC has been phenomenal. He's had so many multi-knockups, big charms, but the follow-up isn't there. So they're playing for the 50-50, right, as the collapse is happening with the Gwen. But unfortunately, the poke here from Supa just isn't doing anything, and when Delight comes in for the engage, they're like, yeah, we'll trade Dragon for a team fight win. The equalizer placement is amazing. As you can see, Alvaro gets a double knockup, but where's the follow-up? Supa is zoned away again, cannot actually get involved in the fight. Same with JoJo, and now Baron is in the hands of HLE.
Yep. And there's no one here that can take that one down. Alvaro, I did notice that he had the unsealed spellbook, but didn't have a smite at the ready. That one was being held in the last fight, so didn't have it available. And so HLE now with a purple buff and looking very, very strong, moving towards these side lanes,
and
trying to get that pressure on.
It starts to feel like you have to draft the Obituary, because with Baron buff here and the amount of map control that Hanwha Life Esports already had, it just becomes impossible to play out looking for vision control anymore, looking for side lane pressure with this Ryze Gwen. Now, remember when once upon a time we could talk about what this Gwen could do if left unchecked with a Realm Warp on top of her. You could force a lot of cool fights, but now she just is catching waves. The same with JoJo, of course, who's now 2 minutes away from finishing that Rod of Ages at 29 minutes into this game.
Oh, man.
It starts to feel a little bit hopeless unless Hanwha Life Esports just kind of base check or overextend. Their opportunities are limited. They really are.
Yeah.
Itemization-wise, I mean, look at Orianna. I mean, sitting on, about to be a death cap here, full stacks on the Dark Seal.
Maybe this is the time where you can find an angle just before that Hat of Doom comes in for the Orianna, because that is going to be where things get really, really difficult. Even the Command Protect is going to be so beefy, trying to get through that when Peanut goes in. He's been pretty reckless with these engages, but he's just going to be allowed to. If they're able to support him as effectively. Okay, Realm Warp to come forward as MCOY are looking for the angle, but the answer is so good from HLE. The Magnet Storm, they just dive on top of it. That is not what you want to see. Now the Equalizer is just going to cook all of them. JoJo goes golden, so they walk past him for a few moments before going back to burn him down. And now Supa able to get out with the flash, as HLE diving Nexus turrets now is a little bit of an overshoot, but they'll still be able to take this inhibitor and look to put the last few nails in this coffin.
I was just in my head going, don't take that Realm Warp, don't take that Realm Warp. And Delight looked at me and he was like, they take that Realm Warp.
Yeah,
they did take that Realm Warp, and he pressed R. And I think he also pressed the GG button as Hanwha Life. Just gonna take this one in a commanding, dominant fashion. Once again, bit of a sloppy, messy early game, but maybe it just doesn't matter when your team fights in the mid game.